Hey everyone, welcome to Wax Pack Wisdom, where we talk baseball history through card breaks and the cards we love. My name is Jake T. O'Donnell. Today, we're opening this pack of 1989 Bowman baseball cards. As you can see, it is the comeback edition of Bowman baseball. The Bowman Company made some of the most famous baseball cards ever in the 40s and 50s, and then they sort of ultimately lost the baseball cards war of the 50s with Topps. Topps bought them out, and then in the late 80s, as you can see here, right before 1990, the Topps decided to bring the Bowman brand back. So that's what we're going to go for today. I bought this pack actually at an antique mart, not far from where I live. Picked this up. This set does have a potential for a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. So we'll see what we get here. There you see the gum. Gum actually decently intact. Not too bad. Maybe not going to chow down on that today. The first card that we see is Kirk Gibson. So one thing you'll note is that these cards are a little bit bigger than maybe some of the sort of regular standard cards of the era. I think that was intentional. Topps wanted to make cards that were basically the same size as the Bowman cards had been in the past, many years before. So this is Kirk Gibson's 89 Bowman card, and this would be obviously the first card issued by of Kirk Gibson's after hitting the famous home run in Game 1 of the 1988 World Series, causing the sort of mass hysteria. One of the most famous home runs ever in the history of baseball. Kirk Gibson can barely walk. He is able to hit this incredible home run to win Game 1 of the World Series. He does not have another at-bat the rest of the series. It helps propel the Dodgers to victory. So this would be right after that. Gibson played a few more years after this, but his career was pretty much over by the mid-90s. There is Keith Miller with the Mets. Mets coming out of the World Series year in '86, obviously. Here's Hall of Famer. There's Bert Blyleven. This is sort of near the end of his career. Blyleven pitched for a very long time. A lot of years with the Twins, a lot of years with the Angels. He was, I believe, on the '79 Pirates that won the World Series. Recently acquired his rookie card, which is from '71. Blyleven pitched for a very long time. And then there was many years of debate about whether or not he belonged in the Hall of Fame. I think it was always obvious that he belonged in, considering how well he pitched for how long he pitched for. And so that is that's my take. And I'm very glad that he got in. He deserved it. And just again, one of the more sort of prolific pitchers of his era. All right, that is Sandy Alomar. Technically, this card is for Sandy Alomar Sr. And you can see his two sons flanking him on either side. Roberto Alomar, Hall of Fame second baseman, and Sandy Alomar Jr., who was an all-star level catcher for years and years and years. Both of those guys ended up with the Indians. And lest we forget that, Sandy Alomar has been a longtime fixture in the now Guardians organization, a coach for many years as well. Had some opportunities to manage, didn't end up coming to fruition, but there you see Sandy Alomar Sr. being flanked by his two sons, and you see it. I guess that's like a TV that they're in. I don't really know what that's about. Interesting. All right, there's Dave Stewart, one of the best pitchers of this era, the late 80s. You see that look on his face. That's part and parcel with the way that Dave Stewart sort of carried himself on the mound. He was one of the more intimidating presences in baseball and was the real true ace of the three A's teams that made it to the World Series in consecutive years, 88, 89, 90. They won one of those in '89, and Bob Welch was there too, and they had other great pitchers, no doubt. But Dave Stewart was the guy, and it was always very tough. As a Red Sox fan growing up, anytime that you had to face Dave Stewart, a Dave Stewart pitch team, That goes also with the years that he spent with the Blue Jays, where he was also a big part of their rotation, at least one of those World Series championship years. So, Dave Stewart, fine pitcher, one of the more unheralded sort of non-Hall of Fame pitchers of that era. That is Bruce Hurst, who is one of the all-time, I wouldn't say one of the all-time greats, one of the great pitchers of the 80s as well, one of the best left-handed pitchers of the 80s. He was a critical component of the Red Sox 1986 American League Championship team. He was the one who got the ball in Game 7 from John McNamara. I think Bruce Hurst, if the Red Sox had won that series, I believe Bruce Hurst probably would have been the MVP. But, he eventually made his way to the Padres, where he pitched out, I believe, for most of the rest of his career. But that rotation with Clemens, Bruce Hurst, Oilkin, Boyd, Al Nipper. At the end of the season, they had Tom Seaver as well. Great rotation. Hurst was a huge part of that. A draft pick for the Red Sox that worked out. I believe that Hurst was drafted the same year that the Red Sox drafted Wade Boggs. So that was a very successful draft class at some point in the 70s, I think late 70s. So there's Bruce Hurst. All right, this is cool. These early Bowman sets, I believe maybe just this first Bowman set, had a bunch of replica cards in it from some of the Bowman series and sets of the yesteryear, of the past. So this is an example of one of those replicas, and it is a replica of the 1949 Bowman of Satchel Paige. There are not many actual issue Satchel Paige cards of the years that he actually played in the majors. Satchel Paige, of course, Negro League legend, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Won an immeasurable number of games. Who even knows how many he actually won? He didn't pitch in the big leagues until his 40s. The color barrier was broken in 1947. And then he made, I believe, his debut for the Indians the next year. Was part of the Indians World Championship team in 1948. And then stayed with the Indians for quite a few years. Eventually also played, I think, with the White Sox, and then came back in the 60s and pitched for the Kansas City Athletics, because, of course, he had made a name for himself in the Negro Leagues, pitching for the Kansas City Monarchs. The stories are incredible. Of course, it had his sort of words, things to live by. Don't look back; something might be gaining on you. There's a lot of amazing things about Satchel Paige out there. Eventually, of course, rightfully made his way into Cooperstown. One of the more fascinating figures, of course, if you watch Ken Burns' baseball documentary, the stories that his old teammate Buck O'Neill tells about him are some of the greatest baseball stories ever. A lot of them are probably apocryphal, not true. Doesn't mean they aren't great stories. I do not have a Playing Days Satchel Paige in my collection. I'm hoping to get one. I would love to get one at some point. Probably in particular his 1953 Topps card. I don't think that this card, this 49 Bowman, and especially not his 48-49 Leaf card, probably those will probably be hard ones to come by. In general, the Satchel Paige cards are hard to come by because he only actually played a few years when they were actually issuing, when they actually issued his card. So 53 Topps is probably the one that I would go for, and I'm hoping to get my hands on it at some point. But this is a great example in this set. All of these packs had reprints of some of the famous cards from the past. There's a really great 53 Bowman mantle color one that's in this set as well that I have somewhere. All right, here is Rance Mulliniks, who is I think like more of a utility infielder type guy, and somebody who I stayed in the consciousness as an announcer for the Blue Jays years after his playing career ended. Speaking of the Blue Jays, not with the Blue Jays at this point, there is David Cone, who we of course know from years with the Mets, years with the Blue Jays when they were going and winning the World Series. He also pitched for his hometown Kansas City Royals. He also pitched famously for the Yankees, where he threw a perfect game. And he also pitched for the Red Sox. and now he's an announcer, and he's a really great announcer too. I love David Cohn. I love hearing his perspective on the games. He's one of not a lot of guys from his era, especially announcers, who are willing to embrace some of the new ways of thinking about baseball, and he does like that stuff, and he incorporates it in what he says on the broadcast, and I certainly appreciate that as somebody who believes that a lot of the traditional baseball media is doing the audience a disservice by turning their nose up at the new ways of thinking about the game. That's just me on my soapbox talking a little bit about that. But David Cohn was a cerebral, smart pitcher. It wasn't necessarily somebody who was overpowering. And I really enjoyed it when he was on the Red Sox that one year. So that's David Cohn. The next one's a name you know. There's Mark McGwire. This would be after the year 1988 when his teammate Jose Canseco had an incredible year, was I believe the MVP of the American League in 1988. And then here's Mark McGwire, who, I mean, what can we say about Big Mac? Growing up as a kid in the 90s, even before his exploits in the 98 season, Mark McGwire was one of my favorite guys always. Even when he was with the A's, and he was there are not a lot of guys in the history of baseball better at hitting home runs than Mark McGwire. That is a fact. And then obviously he had to face the music about the steroids, and then Barry Bonds responded in kind to his accomplishments. But that summer of 1998, I was 12 years old, and it was a perfect time to be 12 years old and be a baseball fan. And it doesn't take, and what happened behind the scenes doesn't take away. Somebody the other day posted the video of him hitting the home runs that he hit in the home run derby at Fenway Park in 1999. There was nothing like that. It was a spectacle. And this is the entertainment business, and nobody was more entertaining than Mark McGwire during that stretch. So that's Mark McGwire. There is Spike Owen with the Expos at this point, and again, I love the Expos and their uniforms, and I always will. So there's Spike Owen, who was a member of the '86 Red Sox and a very good shortstop in the big leagues. This is Brian Holman, another Expo. I mean, look at, again, you can't say enough about them, about the Expos uniforms. The last card here is Juan Agosto from the Astros. Again, don't really have a lot to say about Juan, but why don't we go back and put up the replica of Satchel Paige as our last card today. We did have we had Bert Blyleven in there as a Hall of Famer, but we're going to finish up with Satchel. So that is going to do it for this edition of Wax Pack Wisdom. I want to thank everybody. This will be the last video that we post in 2023. It has been just a phenomenal year. We started this channel in June. We posted our first video late in the month of June. And this has taken off beyond my wildest dreams, beyond my wildest expectations. I thank each and every one of you for watching this video, if you've watched any of our videos this year, if you subscribe to our channel, if you've commented on our channel, if you've liked any of our videos, if you've interacted with us and followed us on social media. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Abby and I wish you all a happy new year, a happy and safe new year. We are so excited about what's to come on Wax Pack Wisdom in 2024. We have some big ideas for some great things that we want to show you. I'm really excited to get into showing you more of my collection and the stuff that I've collected over the course of just the last year, the last 6 months, in addition to the things that you've seen. Obviously, you've seen the 59 Topps Fridays. We're going to continue to rolling with that. We'll have a new one. The next new one will be next week on January 5th. So I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching Wax Pack Wisdom, for supporting us. It's been a blast, and we're so excited about what's to come in the future. So in the meantime, we'd ask you that you please tell us what you thought about this card break. Tell us what your favorite card is that we pulled today. And do you have a story about one of the players in this pack? Please leave us a comment and let us know. We'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our Wax Pack Wisdom content. In the video description, you'll find a link to where you can follow Waxpack Wisdom on all social media channels. You'll also find a link to our favorite nonprofits and charities. If you enjoyed this video, please consider a donation to one of them. It would mean a lot to us. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Waxpack Wisdom. Take care.